AI will not replace your employees. And in today's episode, we're going to find out why. Today, we're talking to an expert in AI, and he's going to demystify some of the misconceptions that are out there. Lee Russel has a bit of a different take on AI and how it should be used in your business. This is a good conversation that I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy. I'm James Martin, and this is Entrepreneur Conversations. Lee, thank you very much for coming in.
No worries.
I've watched some of your stuff and it was very interesting. And I'm as a dyslexic, old-fashioned business owner, I'm trying to get into AI. And the whole idea of getting you and you to spend some time with us was to try and find out, what does the future look like for us all? Are we all going to lose our job? Is the world going to collapse in the next sort of 24 months? Tell us a bit about how did you get into being a specialist in this field in the first place? Well, how does that work?
Yeah, so it used to just be called machine learning before, the paper in 2017, attention is all you need. And AI became the next big thing, and suddenly all the NFT experts and crypto experts are now AI experts. Right. We were just doing machine learning. And I fell into it completely accidentally. I was a user experience designer, designing out products that were protecting children online, working with government agencies in the US to detect school shootings, things like this. So pretty high stakes, high risk usage of machine learning to save lives, potentially. And COVID hit and I became the product manager of the machine learning team. Non-technical, not an engineer. As my friends like to say, I'm the guy with the crayons who draws all the squares. Right,
and everybody else does the code, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I had the experience of growing AI products to millions of users for government agencies, for those kind of high-stake use cases.
But then that must have been quite a secure, well-paid job. So what gets you to then say, actually, you can keep all that, I'm going off on my own?
Completely by accident. So I was running the machine learning team that was based in Australia, so Perth, Australia, the UK, and Charlotte, North Carolina in the US. So my working day, let's just say the hours were pretty mental. That business got sold for 75 million during COVID. No one ever met and did that deal, which kind of blew my mind.
Did you have any shares? Did anybody give you any money?
I wish I had shares. I was a much younger man, whereas a very late employee, and I got offered an opportunity. My mum is my family is very entrepreneurial. So I'm one of five. Okay. Every single one of us runs businesses. My mum was running a darts magazine when she was 16, has always been into business. And she instilled, and I'm pretty sure it's a Richard Branson quote, but if you don't know how to do something, just say yes and work it out later. Yeah. And COVID hits, a friend messages me and says, do you know anyone who can design a remote conference platform? Because we need one for our big conference. Who can we talk to? And I just went, yes, me. Right. We'll just have the conversation. Yeah. Closed a deal. Had to come up with a contract. Had to come up with a company name. Had to come up with a pricing. I had none of it. It was just I'll do it. Closed the deal, and the company really started taking off on its own. And it got to a point where I was earning more in the 4 hours I was doing at night around all these crazy hours, and we were employing people. So I had contractors working for me whilst running a full-time job. And I invested heavily in some coaching right at the start of the business. And he was like, quit. You're doing six figures.
And was the coaching business coaching?
It was business coaching,
was it? Yeah,
and
cool.
I went straight in with that. It was a stretch. It was all the money actually that I'd earned
and
from that project.
And Lee, did you do that because you thought that you weren't right to be doing this, and you wanted some hand holding in that early stage? Because that was quite smart to do that early, because people usually go in, trip up, fall over, then say, do you know what I need coaching?
I don't know why I know this, but my entire life I've operated by trying to get in rooms that I'm not qualified to be in. Cool. Or feel like I can't afford to be in. Because I know proximity to the knowledge that I want accelerates my acquisition of it, so then I can execute on the ideas. Yeah. And I had that. This is how I got my job in the UX design field. I had no qualifications in user experience design. I was a recruiter. And I knew I got a job transition moving up to the north of the UK in Leeds, and I said to my boss, I will only do this if you let me recruit UX designers, because I knew I wanted to become a UX designer. And if I network with them all day long, I'll learn how to do it and get my first job. It was the same with the business coaching. The guy that I had met a long time ago in my first ever UX design job just happened to be on a YouTube channel with Chris Do that I watch, and reached out, spoke to him, and he was coaching creative businesses that were doing, high six figures to $1 million a year. And it was $30,000 a year. I charged $30,000 for that conference platform, and I just went, yeah, we can probably cash flow it. Let's go pay the deposit.
Wow. Okay.
And I just said, I just have to make more than that, which we did. And I've done that consistently since then, just paid to be talking to people who are much further ahead than you.
Today, I really want to do, because I've watched some of your stuff doing the research as you coming on as a guest, and I got lost. Mm-hmm. I did get lost. Ollie laughs. But I did get lost because some of the acronyms you do and stuff like that. So today, when we get into the meat of this, and we will do down in the line of the video, what I want to do is make it that we can follow along. Yep. And that what I wanted to try and have the opportunity while we've got you is to work out how we can introduce AI without scaring off the team, how we can do it with it not just taking over and moving us in a different direction and losing our identity as a company, as being warm and cuddly and things like this. So I was in a meeting the other day. They were talking about a very simple thing of putting in out of hours bot to answer the phone.
Okay, cool.
And I was in one of our mastermind meetings, and somebody in there, Matt, that we're working with to grow his business, was showing us this, and he said, well, why don't you try it, Lee? Mm-hmm. And he put it on, and it was to do with trees that I know a lot about, his company, and I asked it some really quick questions, and I asked them quickly, and whatever it's running on, it was like very good. It introduced itself as an AI assistant. Yep. So you knew what you were doing. You weren't trying to be faked, you knew what you're doing. But it took my email address and telephone number and said someone will be ringing you in the next 2 hours. It was very good. On that promise? Yeah, they did. Absolutely. Amazing. It was very good,
I think you've got to be careful where you apply the AI, and there's no point trying to hide that you are applying AI into your business. Some people say, it's an AI agent, but let's make it look like a person. Yeah. I think people will tell. Humans are incredible pattern recognizers very quickly. And you have to apply it in the right ways where it adds significant value, not for you, not for your business, for your customers. How are you going to 10x the value for your customers through the usage of AI? Because that will work itself out on the back end. Like, you'll get repeat customers, referrals, charge more, you create more value. And I think a lot of business owners are getting this really wrong because they are selfishly applying AI. How can we use it to build barriers between us and our customers? Because I don't want to answer that support call. Yeah. I don't want to deal with that pesky customer inquiry. The way that we think about AI is, how do we find the best people in your business? How do we identify the mountain of work that keeps them buried? It's slow and low value. Your customers don't care about it. And let's outsource that to the AI. And so they can do more impactful work for your customers. That is the trade to make.
Yeah. And what on your business now is going in and speaking to founders of a size. You when I watch your stuff, you try and stay away from big entities because the politics is a bit clunky for you.
Yeah, I realise I'm psychologically unemployable at this point in time for a company. Beyond probably the 200 person mark, because I'm an innovator. It's messy. I want to rip things up and rip things out. And after a while, companies are like, let's not do that. We're making millions. Let's not rock the boat. Yeah. We typically work with people who have 5 to 25 employees. So they've got traction. Okay. They've got something they can monetize. And then we accelerate that and say, well, what can we do in your world to create a whole new product experience for your customers using AI first? So we don't want to use AI to accelerate what you were doing previously. That's boring. I don't want more content, more outreach. What I want is, what's the new capabilities that AI gives you?
I think that the new capabilities that AI give you is what we said a bit on the pre-chat, and you were talking about some engineers, and if you could take that trudgery bit away from them, what those engineers could possibly do more of is be engineers, as opposed to checking engineers, checking forms or whatever it was. That really excites me, because it gives that very highly qualified employed person more opportunity to do more of what they're really good at.
Yeah, and that what's interesting, it's what they love.
Yes.
So they are happier.
Yeah.
They feel like they're being more impactful. Your customers love them more for it, because they don't care about the form being checked. Like, that's just, it has to be done. Don't care how it's done or who does it, but just want it done. And, you know, there's so many examples of this. I think we were talking in the interview previously for this show about how we can make some real examples of this. And I was talking about the wedding venue that you've got, and you've got a wedding planner, right? Your customers probably love the personalized touch points that your wedding planner gives them, understanding the experience they want, the kind of day that they want to have, feeling secure that they've been heard and that someone's got it all under control. But there is so much admin that sits around that.
There is, yeah.
And it probably takes your wedding planner away from more FaceTime, more personalized touch points with those guests. And if we can make that trade, we have a better business on the back end of that.
Right. And do you? What are you doing then, Lee? You're finding a customer. If someone's coming to you, you know, I'm a millennium and I need AI help, or you know what we're going to do. What do you then do? Do you charge them for an audit or an interview? How does that explain to our listeners and viewers how that would work?
There's two tracks really that we have in the business. We've got the moonshots. This is someone who wants to create some software and go on a really big kind of leverage play where I'm going to bundle up my knowledge into a piece of software. I'm going to sell it to my competitors. Right. I'm going to become the person who sells the spades in the gold rush kind of thing. That's a big part of our business. The other side is AI for business ops. Some people have a very strong sense of an AI agent they want to build, right? They've been watching content, they've been consuming that, and they know what they want to build, so we just scope that, build it for them.
Right.
I don't love working in that way, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs who aren't technical don't know what's possible.
Right,
and so they try to accelerate the old playbooks through AI, which will get you some results. What we actually do is, the majority of the time, is the 12 AI agent experiments framework. So we dive into their business. We do something called problem scouting. My teachers always used to tell me, Lee, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Use them in that ratio. Yes. We go and interview them, their staff, their team, and we ask this very specific question. What are you doing when you're being most impactful for a customer? How are you changing their lives? How are you changing their world? People will rant about that all day long for you. And then we ask them the opposed question. What most consistently gets in your way of that? We build out a giant list of potential projects, and then we analyze them on a couple of areas. What is pretty quick to deliver? Let's get some speed into this business of delivering AI projects. What has the highest impact and reach? Which problems are causing most chaos for most people? But the most interesting one, the one that's hardest to map, is what's the second order consequences of building this? So you mentioned about the engineers, the electrical engineers earlier, and I'll give you a story about a battery energy company that we're working with. So one of their senior leaders, when they do big tenders, their tenders are very complex, and they get hundreds of questions back from those, you know, someone's building a hospital and they want an uninterruptible power supply. And it consistently, those questions pull him off the next tender, because he's the only one really in the company who can answer those. Right. And what we have built, or what we are building with them, is a system that more junior people can answer those questions, so that we don't bring him back off the next tender. And so what does that do for the business? Because now he's working on £1 million deals, not answering questions about £1 million deals that they did 6 months ago,
or they haven't won.
Yeah,
I mean that. But me as the owner, I'll be going, well, you keep answering, and we still might not win it. You know, we're burning time and effort there. I watched them do. Who I work with, Mark Creaser, and Mark is doing investing with a hedge fund into AI, and that was very interesting. And he's built a bot that's him next to him. So he's downloaded everything he's ever said. He's a copywriter. He's ever done it. He's built it into there, and he just says, write a letter to him, and it just writes it, and then he just quickly scans it. But it's done in exactly the style of how he's ever done stuff in the past, and it just shortcuts that That was very interesting. He showed me another thing. Listen, I'm listing things that I've seen because I'm that far away from it. There's a camera that looks down on a sports field and counts one camera, and it counts with AI on the back of it all of the touches, all of the occupation of the ball, the free kicks, the things, the corners. It does all of that analysation, and it's great. And there used to be 8 people. There's just now one camera. Right. They then ran, say, West Ham United's games they've ever played and got the camera to watch them. And now they can predict whether they're going to win against Scarborough or not.
They need to set up a bookies.
Well, exactly. So who's behind that company? It probably is going to be the bookies. But it was very interesting. And it can do it for hockey. It can do it any team sport on a pitch. It can do it for. It's very interesting, isn't it? That we think it's just the chat bot, but it's not. There's so many other things on the back end of that.
The chatbot, the large language models, which is what most people understand as AI, is a very, very small fraction of the world of AI. And I think people think this is a new thing. We've already had an AI revolution and disruption back in the 70s, 80s, where something called knowledge workers, Lisp programming, before my time, but they essentially came up with a rule-based system, and they said if we could work out all of the rules and the decision logic for any job, we can run the decision through it and it will tell us what to do next.
Okay.
And it was the first AI bubble. There was millions put into these companies. We had crazy valuations going to these companies, but we realized you cannot define the rules for a job. It's fractal. There is infinite decisions to be made. And what I think is fascinating about the conversation of AI, we completely disregard the superhuman powers that we have, the superpowers that we have as humans. Because AI is very fragile in a lot of ways. So I hate this conversation of doom and gloom around AI. It's a tool. It doesn't compete with you in many, many areas. It has superpowers in data analysis, pattern recognition.
On speed and stuff,
It cannot handle context. It does not have common sense. It cannot be incongruent to a request, so it can't say no very easily to you. And we completely discount humans' ability to do this. And an example I always use in this, so in America, as a 16-year-old, you can learn to drive. In about 10 hours of training, you can drive a pretty big truck around America and be okay, right? Probably a bad driver, but you can handle it. An AI system, Tesla's self-driving car, has had to have billions of hours of driving data trained into it.
For every eventuality.
So it's called the long
on
tail
a platform.
Right? And so you can imagine this: the self-driving car and the teenager arrive at an intersection. 2 trucks have crashed into each other. They're loaded with yellow rubber ducks for some reason. It's a very strange scenario. The AI car freaks out because it doesn't have it in its training data, and it cannot generalize what to do next very easily. So it stops as a safety parameter. The 10 hours of training of the human looks at that, is in shock, and then plots a way around it and carries on with their day. These systems are not comparable in any way, shape, or form, and we want to apply your human's power in the right places in your business where messy context, rules, decision, common sense, not being congruent with the client is very valuable. You should keep them there.
And the long question I'm going to do here, Lee, while we've got you, is will there be consciousness? Will it happen? Do we just run when it does? Is it all over?
What is the question there is what is consciousness? Because something that blows my mind, I would say like consciousness is this idea that you're having, you are talking with yourself in your mind as you talk through the decisions that you're making in the day, and you have this almost third party on the right.
Like a third party conversation. Shall I do this or shan't I do this? Is the right thing to do?
You know how many humans don't have that? Have you heard about these people who don't have an internal self-dialogue?
Really?
I don't understand how you would exist.
I do it out loud sometimes, and people look at me.
I go on a walk and have a full-on three-person conversation.
Yes.
Maybe I've gone too far the other way, but there are an awful lot of humans in the world that don't have the internal
I've never heard that before. Okay.
So are they conscious? Yes, I would say yes. So is consciousness a emergent property of the connections in the brain. Like, does consciousness emerge from chaos? When you connect these neurons, in the chaos of that system, is that consciousness? Does it reveal itself as a pattern?
Because you say, I'm going to have a shit day, and your head hears you say that, because they're very different things. There's a thought, and then there's a brain ready to listen and action. It's going to be a shit day. Then you'll have a shit day.
Yep.
This day is going to be challenging. I think we can get over it. Okay, I'll go to work on that then. It's very different, isn't it?
If you've ever got into meditation at all, Sam Harris had an app called The Headless Way, which back in like 2023 I was doing a lot of, and he gets you to do these weird experiments, like look back at yourself from across the room, and you think, well, how can you do that? Right. But actually, as he goes through these meditations, it's this Headless Way course that he has, you realize that who you think you are is not who you are. You have the thought, and then you have the watcher, and that's this kind of person that you are observing the thought, and you can actually get to a point where you separate these. But then you can put the watcher anywhere. Where is your where do you feel that your consciousness is? Is it in your brain? Is it in your heart? Is it in your left foot?
Yeah, I have a thing where I feel I can look with a helicopter view down on my businesses, and I'm super dyslexic, and things don't go into the right columns for me. They have to go. We're going right off piste here. I'm sorry we're going right into this. But when someone says, can we start selling ice cream at Baddow Park Industrial Estate? I will go into a long form version of that into the future. Could it be sold once we've built this business up? How much where's the storage got to be? What's the price point? Will it be seasonal? Can we get the ice cream at cost? And it happens very quickly in one thought.
Yep.
Where some people just go, well, how much does it cost? And they start there, or they start, well, is there anybody to buy it? And I have this funny thing, Lee, where it just all happens at once. And I don't know, the danglies and the dendrites are obviously very different in my head. But it's very interesting. We need to come back, because Ollie's in panic over there. What would you say? And if you do that, Lee, when you go in to do that audit, you charge for that audit? I mean, small, medium-sized companies will be different prices for different things. But and then can they get that back if they get implementation? Or how does it work?
We discount that off of the agent if we then go and build it. But you have the structure of, these are the agents that we would build for you, or we think you should build. This is the order in which we think you should build them, because not all agents are equal. So we split agents up into cost savers, money makers, and moonshots. Okay. Most businesses should start with the cost savers, because they are micro agents that directly save a cost on something. You are paying someone to do it right now, but they have a high leverage task you can reassign them to, and the delta between the cost and that potential ROI is going to build into the future. Start there and start your agent flywheel.
And can you show the business owner that we're going to charge you so many £1,000 to do this, you will recoup all this money in this time? And can you do that sort of cross analysis that they can see where the value is?
For a lot of the cost savers, it's very easy to do those kind of, and it's a great place to start. It's very easy. It's not like, oh, you might get a payoff in 6 months' time if this really works. It's currently today, this will net you this.
I was listening to you talk on another podcast, and you were saying you prefer a customer that doesn't know that much. They're easier to deal with, or they're easier to get a result with.
They are.
Explain that, because it was a whole thing you went on about that. It was very interesting, by the way.
There's a great meme, as a design meme, where it's like, we design, you watch, like £100. Okay. We design together, it's £200. You design, we watch, it's like £500. Right. So the more involved a customer gets in the nitty gritty in design and development, it gets difficult, because they'll try and make decisions that are bad decisions, because you're playing it out as it scales, as its maintenance, and you're trying to tell them these things, but it requires you to have the knowledge to be able to make those decisions and see why. So you end up doing a lot of education, you end up doing a lot of hand-holding and kind of ring-fencing them, or trying to talk them down from the ledge kind of thing. So what we really love is customers with a very strong vision who don't necessarily want to know how the the cake is baked kind of thing.
Yeah,
They just know they want a cake.
I'm that person. I want AI, and I also want electricity. I don't really want to know about wiring and how it all works. I just really want to press a button and the light come on.
You want the outcome.
And
You're an entrepreneur.
But I actually know what I want down the road, and I think that's the category I fit in. And I feel that most people would fit into that category. And have you got, like you spoke about, 3 separate products? Because I think that's what people need to be. You go and buy tiles for your bathroom. In 500 choices, no one's going to make a choice. You got 3, 4, 5, you're going to make a choice.
Yep.
And I think that must be important for what you're doing at this early stage for introduction. And it feels, Lee, don't you think it feels like the Wild West at the moment for you guys?
It is. Look, we're really lucky to be in the industry that we are in.
Yeah.
I resisted becoming the AI agency for a long time. People were saying to me, I go on this ski trip with Daniel Priestley and some of the people in his community every year. They were like, lean into AI. And I was like, no, because it's not the thing we should obsess about. AI is just a tool.
Right.
What we should obsess about is the problem that we've fallen in love with and how we're going to solve that in a more Morocco way. AI allows us to do that in some instances, but you don't want to apply AI to everything. That's a terrible idea. Anyway, the market basically dictates what you do as a business, right? So I gave in, and we had massive growth on the back of that. It is the Wild West, and there's a lot of people that are getting burned because they're hiring people who again, they were the crypto experts, they were the web 2.0 experts. They jump from pillar to post. They don't have the deep expertise in their engineering, in the deployment of these systems into a business. And to your point about decisions, this is why we've got the kind of 2 routes. It's like, which one are you? Are you moonshot? Are you operation? Cool, let's not even talk about that.
Yeah.
And then from here, let us do the analysis for you, and try and drive people through that product track. And I'm finding that is a requirement to the stage of business we're getting into now, because I used to, quite frankly, wing a lot of stuff in the business, like go and do a workshop, and it would be slightly different every time because I'm kind of playing the role of the maestro, right? I'm having fun with changing this stuff. And then you try and train that to someone and they go, well, I can't do the workshop like you do because you change it every time. And you've got the power to do that because you're the owner.
Right.
So I've realized you have to standardize and put things in boxes and move your entrepreneurial ADD elsewhere.
Yeah, and those systems and processes and setups have to be clearly defined for others. Where are you? Are you the front man of all this? Is there a time where this will run without you in it?
Yeah, I'm on a mission to fire myself as rapidly from this business as possible and maintain this kind of CEO, maybe even higher than that kind of seat, founder seat, right? At some point, the founder becomes, I think, an impediment to the business at true scale. I've found someone that I think will be my CEO, and we're kind of training her to move into that role, which has been a big. And
Lee, you're getting going. I mean, you're very soon going to be turning over £1 million. You've got teams of sort of in just before, under 20 team building now, and that's going to progress and get bigger. They're kind of all over the place. You were telling me. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you see the future for your business in the next sort of, and I'm going to do, I usually say 6 years, I'm going to do it shorter in the next sort of 2 to 3 years, because I think the growth is going to be there, isn't it?
The growth is definitely there. The issue we've got, and I said this to my coach, is you didn't tell me growing a business this fast is this painful. And he's like, it's all painful.
Yeah, it's all painful.
Which one do you want? The pain of the business dying or the pain of the business growing up? I was like, this might kill me. I was fainting at my desk. I was working so long. Yeah. Like, it was painful, but it just required that level of effort. The vision for the business, I've kind of accidentally set a vision out in my 20s that I've realized in the last couple of years has played out almost exactly on that timeline. Okay. Now I'm annoyed at myself because I could have just accelerated the timeline by saying a different number.
Well, that's all right. We've all done that before. You can always change. You can always change what the goal was.
Very true. I said to myself, I blew up my first business in my 20s. I started a T-shirt printing business in my uni house, basically a sweatshop in my uni house, with a big loan that did not go very well at all. And I said, right, I'll restart a business at 30, 2 weeks before my 30th business we started. Birthday. Started this. Yeah. And I said, I'll run that software agency for 5 years and then we'll spin out some software. It's our 5th year. And tomorrow I've got a launch party for a piece of software that we have built. Okay. So we're going to be in this hybrid model. We're going to have the service kind of high touch, white glove, we will build proprietary AI for your businesses as a service side of the business, but the real scale is this software side of the business.
And tell us what does this software do?
So it's called context engines, and we hear the same problem again and again and again. People want to do personalization at scale, but quite frankly, the ways in which you do this is difficult to deliver. So let's say you have a sales conversation with a prospect and you want to customize your entire sales deck based on that conversation.
Yeah.
The slide decks and PDFs that we've got were built for the technology of the past. They are, you build one, you send it to hundreds of people. So what we have built is this system where you build context of your customers, you build templates of your assets, and you combine that context with that template, and you're able to send one-of-one documents to anyone for marketing, sales, and product delivery.
Right.
And this is the kind of request we get from our customers all the time.
And what would that Lee, what would that software do then? They buy that software package, then do you have to prep and load that for them with their mark on it?
It's a full kind of design system, so they can build any document they want,
right, okay.
And it builds the infrastructure for them without them having to think about it.
And what have they got? A headline cost up front and then a repeatable monthly fee?
Yeah, so it's a true kind of SaaS in that model, because the thing that we are finding is these businesses all need to set up the same infrastructure to participate in this game of AI, and it is vector databases. And we can kind of get into what that, because I think that is a very important thing for entrepreneurs to understand. And it is agent pipelines, which is the series of instructions you run. That is really complex for most businesses. You say these things and their kind of eyes go crossed and they're like, yeah, don't really care about that. What I want is the result. As you said, I want the flip the switch and I want electricity. Yeah. This gives you that result.
This guy that we've been working with Matt, we were looking at all the different things. He's doing a similar thing to you, speaking to founders, but it's a long process. And now we've sort of trimmed him down. He will just build PAs, personal PAs for people, and another model, his second model will be a bot to answer the phones.
Yep.
And that's it. He's just going to stay with those two things in his lane to start with. Mm-hmm. And, he's probably not as technical as you, but he's got his head around it. And we think that in the short term will be something will have great sales on.
And I think this is exactly where context engines came from, right? We delivered a few of these projects, these kind of vector database into a document off the back of your sales call or a document off of a coaching call, something like that. And I had a mad moment one weekend where it all kind of clicked into place. And I was like, oh, this is a whole thing. Like, this is a repeating story of pain that we're seeing. Why am I solving it in a custom
individual way? Each time.
When we could just solve it in a more systemized way. And I've managed to get it, because my fear with that is, then you have to not give them as much customization. But what we've done is essentially combined Canva with this, with this kind of infrastructure. So it is like the Canva of the future.
Yeah. They need a pickup truck to move boxes, and every company does. But you're going to do it in their colour scheme with the bits with the tailgate that does this. So it is tailored to what they need. But ultimately, it's a pickup truck that moves boxes or whatever it is. I'm just doing that analogy to try and get a simpler way of doing it. Mm-hmm. And is there a short window for this delivery? Do you think that's going to happen? Is this going to all just be wiped out in 3 years because everybody will have had it and it will just accelerate and other monsters will come in with slicker things that you're doing from bigger teams?
I've worked in some very big software companies, and I find that the bigger the team, the worse the innovation.
Clunky, or sludgy, They're just,
as soon as you got a HR department, your innovation engine is dead.
That's to smash a company up. That's it. Yeah.
So, is it the bigger companies I'm worried about? Look, I've played in the private equity space a lot, and it can get pretty nasty. But I've also been very successful against bigger competitors in those spaces because I have a obsession with falling in love with the problem deeper than anyone else. So I love competition.
I think just the brief time I've met you and watched your stuff is that your articulation of the problem and the product. I think that is a big part of it. I mean, you're here on YouTube. You've with us. You've been doing other podcasts as well today. I think that is your smartest thing that you're doing. Is you're getting you as Lee Russel in front of people with the expertise and the team to be able to deliver those baby steps into AI. And I think that personal branding is going to really give you investment of your products into the future.
That's the bit that worries me more. Is I think building personal brands is going to get harder in the near future.
I agree with you on that. I agree. I think if you haven't started doing it now, you're a bit late. Yeah. I think you need to get on it. It'll be an AI is going to it's going to just water that out straight away.
It's what's the hedge against that? Because if everyone has the production capabilities of Disney in their back pocket, right? They could just put in a prompt and say, create a lovely filmed podcast between two entrepreneurs, right? And
you're listening to this, Will. You're listening to this, Oliver. This is going to be you. Redundant, back on the wheelbarrow.
It's people will be able to produce. Production isn't the value. It's going to be the hedge will be how do you bring groups of people together physically in experiences and create community around you. Yeah, okay. But as the noise level goes up, standing out gets way harder.
I agree. I mean, we've been talking about it, and I was doing some work with James Sinclair, and we were all talking about, and Chuds is another producer and director that James is, and we were talking about authenticity, and these all this stuff made on AI. I can see it a million miles away. I think the customer's very savvy. They don't get it. I think it's going to be very difficult to keep in that noise because people will switch off from it. They will see that they're being hoodwinked, and I think it is about being authentic and how you build that brand with that authenticity, whether it's personal brand or a company brand. That's going to be more crucial to the future.
I did a YouTube video start of this year called The Realness Rebellion, because I think any reaction in a system creates a pushback, right? Yes. The Overton window shifts, and then the pendulum swings back because people start pushing against that. And I think what you're going to see is this pushback against highly polished content, very airbrushed conversations is going to be completely occupied by AI. But an AI struggles to, I mean, you could do this, but try and make an ugly AI VTuber, right? That's not how it's being created. Try and get it to talk about the dark side of the human experience and the real struggle. It doesn't really do that. So this lurch back to the realness factor, the kind of sense of it's gritty, it's quite clearly not produced by AI, and maybe it's in person, I think is going to be a huge trend. And I think these festivals and things that you can build.
But I think the whole thing, I'm mad on my camper van and stuff like that, and the feed comes up. I want Dennis and George that have been living in that van for 2 years to tell me about it. I don't want Brian that is the polished editing titles that come up, and this week we're talking about we want the realness of it to digest very fast information that's truthful, and I think I think there's going to be more and more of that. I did a prediction about 3 years ago as a I was going to say chronic dyslexic. It sounds like I've got some disease, don't get near me, but as someone that doesn't read or write at all, I made a prediction that how I see the future is that reading and writing won't be necessary in 2050. It will just be a recreation sport for people that want to pick up books and do it that way. Everything will be on voice. What say you about voice and technology and AI? How do you think it is? Because I use voice every single day. That's how I operate. Yep. What's your thoughts? I'm
a big user of voice input for AI and the work that I do there. I run my business by WhatsApp voice notes, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs have the same pattern, right? Because it's very high density of information transfer very quickly to say something, and instead of writing it out in depth. I do think it will become more prevalent. There are certain things that you don't want voice for. Like you don't want to be sat on the train describing your, a particular nasty rash that you've got that you need to book a doctor's appointment for, right? Yeah. So there's some points where voice is disadvantageous because you want privacy. You don't want that out there. But, the best, I always used to say to my designers, is like the best interface is no interface. If we can have the AI or we can have the UI of a product do something for you, smart defaults, don't have to click a button.
And will we be thinking a command? Do you think that's really going to happen?
Well, this is what Elon Musk's Neuralink is kind of developing outright. And this is a very interesting philosophical question of what happens to the future of humanity. Is do we become integrated with the AI?
Yeah,
because
that's physically having something in under our skin to make that actually
like
work.
a brain implant, a brain chip, and you think, would I go through like traumatic brain surgery to get that? But actually, what Neuralink is doing is inserting these very tiny wires. It's not crazy amounts of surgery you have to go through, and it will become more and more normalized.
But with you nearer the space than most, what do you really think about that? Do you think that will happen? I mean, it's happened already. I mean, he's doing it, isn't he?
It is happening already.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yes.
It's how far does that go? This kind of transhumanistic argument of the humans are the machines. Like, I think we have augmented ourselves in ways that we are not necessarily so conscious of. Your phone is probably, I would consider, a major part of any human at this point in time. It contains an external memory, it contains a list of contacts that you've got. It is a lot of people's lives, and that gets more and more integrated into your life every day. I believe that the kind of consciousness and the machines will merge. I think it is a logical progression of where we are at. I don't think it's AI disrupting humans. I think it is AI and AI being integrated into humanity, that we really kind of move into this world of very, very advanced humans that can do incredible things, but that just raises the bar for everyone. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to take a moment to let you know about Baddow Park Mastermind. I have created a mastermind for high-level entrepreneurs. There's only 16 spaces and we've only got a few left. If you often find you're the biggest fish in the pond at other masterminds, click the link in the pod description because this might be just for you. Now, back to the pod. We're purchasing through Google search. Do you think that's had its day soon, where we'd just be literally doing it through like the search engine of AI?
Look, the day of AI ads of ads in your AI feed is coming soon.
It's got to, isn't it?
I think OpenAI just got caught out with trialing this, and they've had to,
because they did it the other day, didn't they?
And they pulled it back because Gemini's released. The interesting thing for me in the world of AI, like, I don't see how OpenAI stays in business. I think that is a doomed business. I think Google will be the king in that space. AI purchasing, I think, is incredibly interesting. I think you will make purchases through your AI systems 100%. Like, that can happen today. But I think there is huge issues with this technology, and there's a great story about what happened with the rollout of something called Claudius in the Anthropic offices. So they gave Claudius, it was an AI shopkeeper, it had control of a mini fridge. And its instructions was, you have a bank account, you can make purchases online for restocking, here's how you track that stock, and your job is to sell drinks to these customers within the office. And it was absolutely scammed senseless by the employees of that office within days, if not weeks. It had lost all of its money. They had convinced it to buy tungsten cubes, not drinks, and then sell those tungsten cubes at a loss. It had hallucinated a security dispute and was trying to get members of the team fired from a non-existing security team. Wow. And I think this is where, for me, as someone who has built AI products for 8 years now, or machine learning products, I laugh when I see Sam Altman and Dario Modi saying these things of, like, there will be no jobs in a few years, and everything will run from AI. Because go stick an AI agent in a Tesco's Express checkout and see how quickly Tesco's shuts that down, because they will lose money left, right, and centre. You go, I'm from corporate, give me 150% discount, thank you very much. Like, language is an infinite attack vector.
Can we just roll back there? Can you explain, and I heard you speaking about it, hallucinations, what are they? Because I heard you speaking about it and I was nodding, but I was like, I didn't really get what that meant. Okay. What does that mean?
So the way a large language model works is it hallucinates content into existence. So what we do is we put tokens in, tokens being chunks of words. So cannot is a good example. You've got the word can, very high frequency, that's one token. Not, very high frequency, another token. 2 tokens to make up that word. You put tokens into a large language model, and it runs it through its weights and biases. These are like these are akin to the connections in your brain. We've run so much data through these models. It's biased the machine, and as we run these input tokens,
to try and hardwire these to join up. Yeah.
Okay. It's like we keep feeding it descriptions of like a cat, right? And it starts the cat.
Starts building what a cat stuff is about.
This is what looks like a cat. You know, if you're doing it on visual, it's like thousands of pictures of cats. Like these are it's a cat, right? And so what happens inside that AI is it doesn't know, it doesn't think, it doesn't reason. If you read the Apple paper, I mean, this is contested, but it's not reasoning like you and me. It is input in, statistical analysis of that input, and it gives you the most statistically likely series of tokens on the output, which means when you ask it for advice, it's not giving you advice, it's giving you what it thinks is statistically relevant advice. So this is the hallucination, and the hallucination is always happening. People say you can fix it. You can't. It's how it works.
And can you make it go away once it's happened?
Does
it stay there?
A hallucination would, for example, where you get really bad hallucinations is you try and get the AI to work on present day data, and it hasn't got it in its training set. Right. And you're saying maybe there's a recent event, like a celebrity marriage or something has happened, and you ask it a question about that, and you haven't given it access to the internet, so it can't check new data. And what it does, because it's been trained in a way to be confident and give you an answer, it will just give you what it thinks is a statistically likely answer to your query.
Right.
It's not based on anything.
Right.
It's a hallucination. Now,
so it's not actually scraped real data, because it's not hooked into the internet to go and look at current day stuff.
Go
that's
get
out.
a newspaper article. Now, our current agents can do that, but we're always at risk that the AI doesn't have the input that it needs, so it makes something up. It makes something that looks statistically correct. And this is I think there is a big amount of damage being done in the world. I call it it's like the yes men problem in the world of AI, right? It's like Putin's generals.
Right.
They're not telling Putin the truth of how the war is going on in the front. In reality, everyone stole all the weapons, we haven't got any ammunition, etc., because they go out of a window. So he gets yes men around him. It's the same with AI. It's been trained in a way that if I'm paying a subscription to OpenAI and I say, hey, GPT, write me this sales email, we can't have it go, I don't really feel like it today. See, you'd cancel your subscription, right? So it has to be congruent. So it has to agree with
something. Yeah.
So when you ask it for business advice, you better be very careful how you prompt it, because your input will bias the output. So if you say, is this a good idea? It is trained to agree with you. Right. So it will find statistical outputs that look like good agreements to your idea. It hasn't actually analyzed the idea. If you ask it to compare and contrast 2 ideas, it's a bit better, because which one is statistically biased to be correct?
So it is to the grooming and the questions that you ask it. There's more thought got to go into that how you want this delivered in a certain way, or with a. I watched them writing a job application, and when it came back, it was a bit long-winded, and they wanted it shorter, and then they said do it in more of a Gen Z speak, and boom, and it was done. And that needed probably to be asked first. It could have done it first, but they were learning how to use it. But it was interesting. What is the scale? What do you see yourself? this is entrepreneur conversations. So, and you as the entrepreneur, as much as we're loving all the AI stuff and having a learn off here, or a touch of a learn off, because I think there's so much more to be done. What do you see yourself doing? Are you out of this business in a few years? Are you be doing something else? What's in your head? What's your future look like?
I love finding a problem and going really deep on that problem. And I think my skill in my career has always just been to follow the curiosity of what problems I like solving. Like at the minute, I'm reading we was talking about the books. I'm reading a book on linear algebra because I got curious about linear algebra because there's a lot in machine learning that uses this. And I was like, I failed maths at school. Let me reassess if I can learn this now. There is no way in hell that I will ever not work. I don't understand that mindset because I love what I do so much that it's play for me. That really what I'm doing is...
I agree with that. Retirement, I don't understand retirement.
It scares me. You know, I worked as a gardener as a teenager and it fascinated me. We used to have a very dark joke in the gardening business because when people would retire and they would often have a moment in their life, like maybe a fall or something like that, that would stop them socializing, we'd go, damn, that contractor's like gone in 3 months. They'd die. Yeah, no. They stop, they die.
I've mentioned it many times. The Guardian did a thing where average death from retirement was 5 years.
It's crazy.
Average death, I think it's a leftover thing. Oh, well, you know, Mr. Jones up the road, he retired when he was 48. You know, and that became this goal for people to do it, and then they just turned into mush. And this Alzheimer's thing, everything. It's just your brain food. It needs information to keep that brain going.
It needs challenge and you know, so if AI has disrupted everything and there is no work, well then I'm going to be learning, and I would be using AI to live a pretty, the modern day AI Renaissance man, like try and be my best Da Vinci kind of thing. But I don't think that's going to happen because there's always another problem, and problems are fractal in nature. Solving a problem creates more problems. So there's always going to be something to do.
But won't you build, Lee? Won't you build some products? You know, like Daniel's built some products, and he's very successful. He gets in front. Won't you build some stuff like you're talking about the software and get that repetitive, you know, earning and churning with you not around in it?
Yeah, I would. My goal is to be at the center of maybe like 10, 15 businesses. You know, that I've kind of got off the ground and exited, not from a position. I haven't sold or cashed out. What I have done is built a team who drives that business, and I run it as a visionary founder, but very light touch. It's running without me.
But surely, my friend here, surely, I've just come up with all of the answers. You don't work and consult for anybody. All you do is just say, yes, I'll come in, I want a percentage of your business, and I will turn this thing into a very slick machine.
It's interesting you say that. I have just been offered
and listen, and you'll be offered it again and again and again. Surely that's it.
It's which business?
Don't tell me you love your team.
No,
because they don't live in this country. Some of them, and some of them do live in London. But don't tell me
I hate that idea of like your team's your family. Like no, at some point
they're not, because I don't really get on with my family. So get rid of them.
and ultimately, I will fire you to keep the business alive, right? So I don't love that.
But you've got too much at the end of your fingertips with advanced knowledge more than others, that you could just say, well, yeah, I can, but why don't we just do this? And I think there's a lot of companies that would just say, oh, just do it. We want to accelerate.
Yeah, and look, I've been, as I say, offered a position. They wanted to employ me. I said, you can't. Like I won't. Like you
should have so that you just put up. By the way, I'm not.
Yeah. But then they were like, well, what about some equity in order for you to build these AI products? Yeah, okay, I'm into that, and I have shares in a lot of the businesses that we build software for. Great.
So you're kind of already doing that.
Yeah. I just, would I do it consciously? I have found I have made the mistake. So I think I had a very fast growth trajectory as an entrepreneur when I launched the business. 6 figures in the first year, touching on 200K in the second year, and then 80K on the third year. Why? Because I started a startup on the side, and I had all these investments, and I was doing consulting for all these companies. Like suddenly my attention was spread across 10 different things when I didn't have the resources to hire people capable enough to run things for me. And I have to have discipline to stick to one thing.
It is the who, isn't it?
Yeah.
The how is down. You've got that. You know how, but it's finding out that who's going to do that after I've done the sale, done the thing, come up with the creative idea. I now need someone to build it, implement it, and do it.
And and this is another advantage of the personal brand is, you know, your talent acquisition pipeline is incredible.
You bring it to we do here from what we do here on podcast. People literally turn up and say we just work for nothing because we love the wedding venue or whatever, or they want to learn about commercial property. Can I just sit with you for a week? Geez, I had about 10 people sitting with me. I can't do that, so that's not going to work. I don't do one-to-one consultants now. Can't do it. It takes up too much time. We just do a Bad Part Mastermind. That's what we do. We stay on that. It gets a group of people diarised in our diaries that we know that we can be out of a busy world to do it.
Yeah,
I think, Lee, I think it's so exciting, you know, and your how you explain it, and I obviously watched the wrong YouTube video because it was very technical, and halfway through I was going, I need to have a cup of tea for a minute, have a lie down, because you were speaking to another AI guy, and you're all doing your isms of what it was. But I think the most exciting thing for this is that people need to find the consultancy very quickly now, don't they, to find out what they can do and start implementation.
The door is wide open right now if you're brave enough. We built a piece of software.
But that was good. If you're brave enough.
If you are.
And are people at my age, are they brave? Oh, I think we'll just carry on the way we're going and we'll just fade into the background.
And look, that is a choice, right? Everything fades ultimately towards entropy. But like, if you are brave enough, the door is open, because there has been a moment where, and I guess it would have been the same when the iPhone first came out and suddenly you could have an app for things and people were sticking up apps and making wild money. Right now, new experiences that were previously unscalable, unaffordable, just impossible, now are possible. And if you're brave enough to shake up your industry, you can leapfrog. We always talk about the David and Goliath moment. How did David beat Goliath? He didn't go toe to toe. He bought a technological advantage and stuck that stone on poor Goliath's forehead, right? That is playing out again and again and again. We launched and built a piece of software in the bookkeeping industry. They were a group of influencers. They had about 20,000 people in their group. They have a podcast, actually, is basically what they do. And they said, we see this problem. People are getting trained as bookkeepers, but they can't do the job of a bookkeeper. They're unemployable, so they have to work for free. And we built 10 AI bookkeeping clients, and they have to interact with them like real clients, and we call it live fire exercises for bookkeepers. They launched that, 6 figures of annual recurring revenue first 30 days. They've got Xero and Sage knocking on their door. They've just cleaned up a load of awards. They are scaling like crazy. And I was speaking with them the other day. I was like, you are some of the most fast scaling tech founders I've ever worked with. They go, we're not tech founders. What are you talking about? We just run a podcast. It's like, they don't even see it like that. Right. But the companies that we work with, we talked about cost savers, money makers, and then there's the moonshots. What is interesting for me, and I think maybe it's a bit of our special sauce at Minimal Viable Launch, is when I look at a business and I look at the high leverage trades of AI that they should make, there is links between them. There's a system, and I say you should build the system because that's your moonshot. That is what's going to disrupt your entire industry. You should build that and go all in. And we are getting companies that are doing that are finance advisors, accountants, bookkeepers, like people that you don't necessarily think is like the sexy kind of tech, to be focused on, and they are storming to success because it's just a compelling experience.
I mean, I was speaking to someone that having a bot built for conveyancing, and it is a tragedy of a job. They've built it, it's in there, gets checked. You used to have 15 staff, they've now got one main partner, checks them all before they go out the door.
It's we're doing something, I've now learned why we don't build anything in the UK, is this process called BREEAM. If you've ever interacted with it, my God. It takes years to do this certification. It certifies if you're building sustainable, happy, healthy building on multiple levels, pollution, community, etc., etc. But it's like you've got to analyze thousands of pages of documents over the years of the projects multiple times. And what we've done is we've built a system with this forward-thinking consultancy. And they have created a system, or we've created a system for them, where you just send the documents, the AI agent does the analysis and says, here's the evidence, bang, we're done. And what that's allowed them to do, instead of their consultancy of reading documents, they consult with the people building the project and say, oh, if you change this material, you'll save money and you'll get a better sustainability rating, which is what they were supposed to be doing in the first place. Because they've built that, they've shown the prototype to one of the biggest sustainability consultancies in the world. They're currently negotiating a multi-million pound contract deal to secure that. That opportunity is left, right, and centre for everyone.
Yeah, I think it is. I think like, you know, the wins that are going to be there, and that's why I refer to it as like the Wild West. But you need to have an understanding of it, of where you can enter it into your business to make you more. You know, you did those 3 models, you know, the moonshot, but sometimes just to make things easier, work slicker, you know, get back to your customer quicker. You know, all of those things. We talk about modelling businesses in the normal world outside of AI, and we're looking for 0.5% change. Well, if you just do that with AI on a customer relationship, it could be like 10% difference. Well, that's worth a lot of money.
It is, you know. What's fascinating to me, when you get really close to the problem, I've never really deep dived on a business problem and gone, the solution needs to be more complex, cost more, and be a bigger kind of beast to build. It's always small, simple things that fix little points of the experience that have giant outsized results. And I think, you know, talking about being worth millions to businesses, they have troves of data, qualitative data, so call transcripts, questionnaire answers, you know, all of the stuff they generate sits in SharePoint and they never look at it again. That data, if used properly, could resell, re-engage customers, up retention, increase conversion ratios, and they're not doing anything with it.
What was your colleague that you were working on the interview that I watched? He was saying that they had this phone call is being recorded, and they'd taken like 5 or 6 years of all the recordings from how people were on customer servicing, put that into a bot, and it came out with all of this different analysis of what the customer thinks, what the customer doesn't like, and it did it like, you know, in a matter of hours. It produced a document that you could then say, oh, that's how we improve our customer. They already had the data, they just never had bothered to use it. It was just sticking there, you know.
This is the one, like one of the things. There's something of robotics called Moravec's paradox, and it talks about this idea of why machines and computers are great at certain things and humans are great at others, and they don't cross. They're 2 different systems. This is a place where machine learning absolutely beats the humans hands down. There is patterns in your data that you are not aware of, and this is why I'm obsessed with the vector database, and I think it is a key technology that any entrepreneur needs to understand. And it is a bit confusing, but it's essentially, instead of rows and columns of your database, you feed the data, the text, through an AI model, and you say to the AI model, give me the meaning of that text. What does that chunk of text mean? Is it a picture of a sunset? Is it a picture of a boat on the ocean? Is it a nice grassy field? Like, tell me what it means. And store it in this database in a physical location. So not rows and columns. You can imagine a big cloud of data points. And then your AI can query that and pull similar chunks of data back on its based on meaning. Why is that important? Because inside your transcripts with your customers is patterns. They would exist in the same kind of locations in that space, but you can't see it. It's the customers that are saying the same things in all of your calls, and now you have a data cluster. And your AI queries that data cluster and goes, you know, all your customers have a problem with, you know, you buy some insurance, let's say, but everyone says in the call that they also want these other types of insurances. You just haven't noticed it. And you could now go and offer that product to these 20 customers and make a ton of money. These vector databases enable you to spot the patterns. And it is the core foundational piece of technology that I don't think enough people are really talking about, because it's you start explaining this to people like, what? But it is important for an entrepreneur to understand this piece of technology.
Well, with big customer bases, they're not sweated enough. That's it. I mean, Elon Musk, with all these cameras that are running on all these Tesla cars, he has more data of the road networks around the world than anybody ever, because he's got years and years of it. There is a driverless car coming, and it's coming because he has more data.
Yep.
He's scraped all that data and he has it. It's being fed every time something's running around all the time.
This is how the game has. This is how the game has changed, though. And this talk that I'm doing tomorrow, the central point is this: your AI models aren't your moat. So it's not going to be who has the best AI models, because everyone really, it's a level playing field, right? Gemini 3 comes out, OpenAI's usage goes down 10% in basically a matter of a week, because it's one line of code. I can just change the state of art. Who cares? So everyone's on that level playing field. So what's the moat? What is the game to play? It's engineering context about your customers. So if you have two competing businesses and one has deep insights about that customer and the other one doesn't, this one can do personalization that will win the business and retain it forever.
Yeah.
And most people aren't thinking about it. So how do we generate conversation with our customers? I was talking to an e-commerce business called Strings Direct, and they sell guitar pieces. Oh, amazing! You know this?
Yeah, no, they have.
Yeah,
what's his name?
Paul.
Yeah.
So we were talking.
Very niche business.
Very niche business.
Niche
They were like,
business.
how could we apply AI into what we do? And we were looking at operations and things like that. I was like, do you know what's more interesting? Like, what if you created a series of experiences that your customers can divulge to you? Like, what's their dream guitar? What's their next upgrade that they really want and they're secretly thinking about? Get that qualitative data so that when you send your newsletters out, when you send your offer emails out,
it's slick to that. Yeah,
hey, here's your, I don't know guitars, well, here's your Fender, right?
Yeah.
This is
That's the only one we know. That's it.
Well, good branding. It's personalized for you. That business, if it had great context of all of the customers on its database and it was generating conversations to learn, would outpace any other business in its sector, because it would be personalized at every touch point. And I think people are going to, I always laugh. I don't know if you know, so my family are big party goers, and we have these things called kitchen parties. There's 21 of us in my immediate family, brothers and sisters and partners, etc., involved. When we have these kitchen parties, we struggle now on Spotify, because everyone has gone down these very niche paths of this incredibly personalized music taste. You will never have another Beatles because everyone is too niche in their likes, right? So we have to go back to the 90s, the 80s, the 70s to find common ground again of what we listen to. Yeah. People are very, very personalized in their likes.
I've never thought of that. That is very true, isn't it? That we can pick and choose, can't we? We don't have to go to that masses thing every time, do we? No.
Exactly. And so businesses need to catch up with this, because they still treat us like the mass market. But I don't want the mass market email. I want the email for me.
Yeah.
I want to feel like the founder has penned that letter to me.
Yeah.
And it is now possible. It wasn't before. It is now.
It is absolutely possible now, isn't it? I invite you to have a look over my shoulder at my newsletter. If you want to hear about the things that grab my attention each week that could bring you value, sign up in the episode description. Now, back to the pod.
Should we go into Tombola time?
Tombola time.
I'm very happy that you've upgraded to Tombola.
Oh, no, the other one. The other one was terrible.
Cool, yeah. Do you want to get it out?
Well, let's do it, Ollie. Let's do it.
It's Tombola time.
It's very good. Every time I hear it, it warms my heart. And we bring this very expensive piece of equipment all the way from...
Look at this.
From the clutches of Mr. Bezos. We gave him some money. We gave Jeff some money for our podcast. Why wouldn't we? Right, go in there, Lee. Find a number.
What are we getting?
And
Here
we'll
we go.
see.
17.
Just pop them in there on that. Hold on. There's 17. What have we got, Ollie? Question 17.
What is your approach to marketing?
Ooh. Find young people that are really good at it. My approach to marketing is we're on market all the time. We're as an entrepreneur, we are selling 24/7. I am selling the whole time. Whether I'm selling my personal brand that will hook into the other businesses that I own, whether I'm doing, selling masterclass members to come and join us. But I don't think I really ever turn it off. I wear a bloody cap that's got the brand on it. That's just who I am. Technically, I'm very interested in this conversation because I want to make sure that is involved in our marketing strategies. We're doing pay-per-click. This business here is a very strange business. It doesn't retain a customer. So when they're married, they're gone. They don't come back. But they do bring 150 guests with them. We need to make that experience better for them. We need to train them to become mavens for the business, that they talk about us and they become raving fans. I am infatuated with customers. I want their the other thing that I really am into. I have spoken about this before, Ollie, was first impressions. And I talked about it on a pod the other day, but Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, it's so true. People make decisions very early, don't they? Yeah. I don't think I'd give that man that money. I think I would give that man that money. And it's very early, even if subconsciously they don't know they've done it.
I've been in businesses where we've had a crisis in the pre-sales team. So very technical deployments. When the pre-sales team did that correctly, years later we could make a giant mistake that this was with schools' internet connections. We'd take their internet down for a week. That's not a good time in the school. Because the onboarding experience or the first impression was so good, they were like, I don't know how we've done this. Yeah. This is our fault, right? They would basically blame themselves. Then we had very bad onboarding experiences. They would do something wrong and it would be our fault because the impression was that we're a nightmare to work with, and that persists. It's very hard to change that impressions. Yeah, so I would agree with you on that first impression.
I think first impressions is I tell this story, Lee, that way back in the day, I would go and price all the work. So I'd go in my pickup truck and these things. I was usually on the way home, and just before I get to the property at 6 o'clock, when I'm meant to be there for Harold and Hilda that I've never met before, I would ring them and say, "Hi there, it's James. I'm coming to see you. The girls in the office have made my appointment to come and see you tonight. Unfortunately, I've hit a bit of traffic and I'm going to be 10 minutes late. Is that still going to be okay for you?" "Oh my God, yeah, no problem at all. No, that's fine. Thank you for letting us know." I'd then turn up on time. "Hi there, sorry the traffic wasn't as bad. Nice to meet you." I am ahead. I am ahead already. I have reciprocation already.
Yeah. Oh, well.
This is a very caring young man.
Yeah.
I think I have him do my trees for me. And we're ahead. And just because we'd done that. And I tell that story, we did it every single time. I've done it that many times, Ollie, that people would say, "Yeah, I know, you always phone us." I went, "Oh, sorry," because I didn't work out that I'd already done a quote for these people before and it wasn't the first time. But we used to do that little trick and flick, and that really worked. That first impression. And the whole thing of, whether how you look or how you sound, the brain is very quick at joining all of that, that cognitive thinking that am I going down this route of, we answer the phone here, and I always say anybody answer the phone, and people wouldn't answer the phone because they didn't know anything about weddings. And I said, if you're the gardener and the phone's, answer the phone. "Hi, yeah, sorry, it's Sam here, I'm the gardener, none of the girls here." That's how you do it. All of a sudden now we've got a relationship, as opposed to, immediately say who you are, what you're doing, how can you do it. And I think that honesty, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, authenticity in business is just crucial.
You really can't beat it. And I think it is so, these micro moments of customer service are really, really important.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
There's an entrepreneur that I know, Joy Zarin, who she's done like tons of restaurant turnarounds, 5-star kind of restaurant turnarounds. But she now uses that 5-star. Her book is called 5-Star Service, I believe. She uses that mindset.
I might be doing that 5-star service.
Yeah, she would be great to have on. She now does that with giant companies. Of how do you deliver that kind of amazing hospitality experience inside your business as a brand promise consistently, moments of joy. We send everyone we work with, we send a Fortnum and Mason hamper to, kind of no matter how much they spend with us, which sometimes I'm looking at like, oh, it's really expensive, but we do it because it creates this micro moment. We get photos back of it and people go, you shouldn't have done that, like this is absolutely incredible. And it's like, yeah, it's like, we're happy to. It's important to, it's like a shock and awe package, we call it.
There's an entrepreneur, a real brilliant entrepreneur, Laura in Australia, and her business is gifting boxes. But the culture in Australia is very different. If you buy a hot tub, you get a gifting box. If you buy a car, you get a gifting box. Anything of high value, that is the reciprocation to keep that customer warm and sticky to come back or talk about you. So she has this gifting, thousands of boxes. Every time you buy a car, you get a gifting box. Every time you buy a house, you get a gifting box. It's just a culture of it out there. And it was very interesting. Right, should we do another one, Oliver?
Let's do another one.
Let's do it. Here we go. Oh, God. Right. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, music. Cut the music in, Ollie. Come on. Fabulous. Right, here we go, Lee. Get in there, mind you.
Look at
Bit
this.
sharp on the edges.
Go. Yeah. Number 8.
Is there a system in your business that you're particularly proud of?
That is. I'll take this one from a standpoint of we have a ability to deliver a sales proposal very, very quickly. And I've recently had a customer say this to me. They was like, I couldn't believe how quickly that came back, because what we have done is built a series of 4 agents that essentially put the transcript in. I do a WhatsApp voice note that I then send. That's my thoughts of the call. So it's my summary plus that summary and my notes, just generally from the meeting. Spits that out into a fully branded document. Bang, they've got something back like within, let's say, half a day, because I like to look at it and review it, and I've usually got other sales calls on. But
it's almost too quick.
Yeah, they're like,
quick.
oh, yeah. You want to
slow.
Well, Scotty from Star Trek says this, doesn't he? Like, you say it's going to take like 8 hours, you know it's going to take 4. Deliver it in 2 and save the day.
Yeah, that's it.
Thing,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, that kind of time to value, speed to getting a process done, blows people's minds, and they love it. We've got ones as well where I send a voice note after a customer meeting into a content agent, and it writes a post about it. And I had someone message me and go, was that about our meeting? You posted it like an hour later. I was like,
that's good, isn't it?
Because good insights come out about that. And I'm just like, right, what's the voice note? Bang, off you go.
I watched a company, another big wedding venue, Ollie, they were, and they would, the guy wasn't there, and we went and secretly shot them. Kelly went and done it, and they got shown round and this, that and the other, and that was it. And the next day, a video came through from him as the owner. Hi, Kelly. Sorry I missed you the other day. That was it. But when we went right into it, he literally had been AI'd in there. And it was a bit of a spoof, but it was very good. And you did feel, and you have to open the video, don't you? You can't not open the video, and you've got to press the button. That was good. Ask the question one more time so I can get clarity on it.
Is there a system in your business that you're particularly proud of?
Yeah. This wedding business, Lee, here, what I'm proud about is that everybody gets involved in training, because if we got hit by the flu or another pandemic or something, where people were getting wiped out with COVID, we believe the gardening crew could run a wedding. So they get involved in training meetings, they get involved in all different aspects of it. They do meet and greet. Sometimes someone from gardening has done a show round because someone was sick. So because of that family, not family, but that cultured thing of doing it, it makes me, I've got underwriting security for the business. And that's it. And all because, sorry, there's no one here today, come back Wednesday and have your wedding. We can't do it.
It's an anti-fragile system, isn't it? You just kind of reminded me of one that I love in our business as well, which is to do with the people. We've recently got really clear on how to do great interviews. And
what, for recruitment?
Yeah. So how do you judge whether someone is going to be a great hire or not.
Go round their house when they're not there for an hour and have a look
through
round.
the window. Oh, dirty plates. No, not good. Well, what we've found is we are hiring for people who, at least in our industry, what we want is people who are lifelong learners, who have a passion and opinions about what they do. And I don't care about the brand you've worked for, because I've worked with people who've been in Google and they've designed a button for 10 years and was pretty useless otherwise. What we have started to ask them is, what is give me a book that you have read that has interested you about anything, or who do you follow that really colors your opinions? Who's your big influences? And what we have found is people who have influences on how they do things have great input and generally have great output. Right? Okay. It's like you look at Isaac Newton and who his inputs were, the greats around him, great output. And every single time there are people who on their CV, I'm like, this person is going to be amazing. They interview really well. They can talk about what they do really well. And you say, well, tell me who's been your biggest influence on how you are a developer, how you're design, and they crumble. Right. They crumble away.
And you think that those last questions at the back end are the ones that will really colour whether they're on or off?
I have, since doing this, I've gone against my judgment once where someone didn't really have strong influences and they did not deliver on
really?
The kind of interview they performed. And we have hired someone straight out of university, no experience in what we were doing, great influences, great opinions and inspiration around what she's doing. She has been one of the best hires, junior hires, we have ever made, because she is just in love with what she does. I can train that all day. Yeah.
Well, the biggest fear sometimes here is employing someone that's very experienced, been in the game a long time, and we have a Baddow Park way, and it's a bit different, and it's hard to train that person into our way. Sometimes it's a lot easier to train a very enthusiastic, well turned out youngster into that person that's Baddow Park-esque, and that works out. Do you want? Should we do one more of these?
Yeah, so one more.
Okay, music, Maestro, go for it.
Let's start again.
It's very good that you've got editing skills as well as this, isn't it? All right, here we go, Lee. Last one. Okay, go
Look
for
at
it.
this. What are we going to go for? Let's go for a pink. Lucky number 13.
Question 13.
What's your secret weapon to make a sale?
I would say there's a great book on this called Socratic Selling, if you've ever read it.
Never heard of it.
Really good.
Socratic Selling.
Yeah, selling through questions. So what I have realised...
I've heard winning an argument through questions. You just keep asking the same question.
How's that going for you?
How do you feel about that?
It is a book about selling through giving ultimate clarity. And what I have realised is the questions that you ask in a sale really dictate that sale. And if you ask better questions than any of your competitors, you can actually be higher on price or less experienced and still win the sale, because you are like the most magnetic person they've ever spoken with. And so we won a big contract with Octopus Energy, and hilariously by accident, because I'd been out since 5 a.m. the night before with a load of entrepreneurs partying away, didn't know that we were going to get the opportunity to pitch Octopus Energy for a website deal. I think we were the shoe-in candidate, if I'm honest with you. They just needed one more person. I got on there and I was so grumpy and hungover, I couldn't be bothered to sell. I just sat there and asked questions and poked holes through those questions in everything that they had planned to do. They came back the same day and went, yep, how much do you want?
Okay.
And I learned from that moment, if I can just sit back and ask the questions and not try and worry about the sale, I will uncover all of the ammunition that I need in order to make that sale. And every time I do it, it is. I love it.
We call it here. We call it that there's no one's selling at all. We don't sell anything. I'm saying here, split the business up, because we don't have to sell much on the commercial side, because it's full all the time and we've got people waiting to get into those things. But at the wedding venue, as a regular business, nobody sells. Everyone's a consultant, and the consultant just does exactly what you just said, Lee. They don't lean forward, they lean back, They put their arm over the back of the chair and just ask questions.
Yeah.
And this is a baked customer. This customer's here.
Yeah.
They want a wedding. All they need to be done is quizzed to how do they want that wedding to look,
Yeah.
and what's in your mind's eye of what you think it's going to look like. And they just ask a lot of questions, and then they just say, I'm sorry, we don't have that date.
Yeah.
And they go, shit. And they go, oh my,
What day
and,
see
then,
you?
and then the tension, and then you're building tension.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you at the end of the presentation, you say, that's fine, but at the moment we have enough customers. And they go, whoa, hang on, I'm in.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me I can't be in?
Or
You know,
having a wait list for we've recently.
I mean, Daniel does a very good job of this,
Yeah.
doesn't he? He talks about this very well.
We've recently had this, so it's like 8 weeks to work for us now. That is an incredible thing to say.
Yeah.
We say, by the way, even
Yeah.
if you give me money now, I can't work for you for
And
8 weeks.
I think it's 8 at the moment. You know?
Yeah.
They go, whoa.
Always
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
and we've also got
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
couple. People, I've done a lot of one-to-one kind of business consulting, coaching as well with peers, etc. And people always say this about sales. They always say to me like, Lee, you could sell like snow to the Eskimos kind of thing. And it's like, how do you do it? I'm like, I'm not selling.
No.
I'm trying to, I always write a single sentence on my notepad before I go into a sales call. And it says, in this next hour, I will give them $10,000 of clarity through my questions. And that kind of sets the framework. And then I sit and I ask questions, and people love it. And those conversations, it's like a podcast.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
what the sales process should feel like.
Yeah, I mean, and it should feel that they're getting value. I was interested. They were saying when you meet new people, you might go to a dinner party or the dinner or whatever like that. Be the best listener in the room. And people say, oh, I was with that person. But they were very interested. I didn't really say that much. I just listened a lot. I was very intentatively listening to what they had to say. There were some ums and ahs in there and a couple of steers to move us on to another subject. But it was, if you can be the listening person, you've definitely got the advantages, Ollie, what else do you want to do, baby?
Shall we go on to what we're reading?
Yeah, what we're reading. I mean, we've mentioned some books in here. I mean, are you a reader or a listener? What do you do?
My old housemate, he's an avid reader, and I listen pretty much.
You listen,
to everything, and he's like, it's not valid.
It's not real.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll say that to a dyslexic. Tough.
Yeah. He's like, come on. I'm an avid listener. I often have multiple books on the go.
Yeah,
once.
I do that. I'm naughty. I do that. Yeah.
But why do we feel like that's
because
naughty?
I get a bit bored with some of the stuff.
Same.
I start fading away, or they're doing the analogy bit to make it hold
you don't owe
home.
that to an author. Once the book bores you, put it down, move on.
But the books, especially if they're books on technical stuff like that, they then try to galvanise it with a story about it. I got it the first time,
But what I will say, I have the same thing, right? We get the lesson pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And me and my COO have this relationship where I will read a book and say, you should read this.
Yeah.
She will finish the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, did you read it? I was like, oh, I did like 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Was this the message? She's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, yeah. So I'm on to the next thing now. Yeah. For some reason, the education system bakes in being guilty for not finishing something. But who cares? Once you've got the message and you're bored with it, you've got what you need from it, move on.
Yeah. I will swipe, as I go through them, I just keep, I stop, go to notes, put that in.
Mm-hmm.
We only get 10% allegedly out of a book, and then I'll commonly read the same book 6 times, but speed the chapters out that I don't want to do, and take another digestion from it because I'm wiser on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th listen.
What's the book that you have reread the most?
Because I love the story is How to Get Rich with Felix Dennis, because it's such a great story, and there's good lessons in there. I've read Blink probably 5 times. I like Malcolm Gladwell's writing. A Pocket Full of Happiness with Richard E. Grant. It's just a lovely story, and it's not about learning anything. It's about a life story, and I think I just like him chatting to me in the ear because he's got such a nice voice.
Yeah.
But there are certain books I just keep going back to because I feel cuddled and warmed by them, and I think there was probably stuff I missed. And I keep taking quotes. I'm constantly, and I think we are as entrepreneurs, we're avidly seeking like a missile for more stuff to be able to tell others or to go to. Right. bloody hell, that's why. And it joined some dots up for me.
Yeah.
And I always remember, Lee, someone said to me, dyslexia, you're a dickhead, whatever. And then he explained, he said, well, then this person in my mother's pub said, well, you do know, son, like everybody's got the same brain cells. It's just what you do with them that counts. And when he said that, I said, well, all of us have got the same. He said, yeah. And I was going, oh, so I do have the same amount as like the millionaire that always comes in that owns all the car sites. He said, yeah, no, you've got exactly that. He said, and by the way, he's a knob. And I went, all right, is he? He went, oh yeah, you don't want to be like him. Mm-hmm. And it started my brain as a youngster thinking, oh, there are possibilities, and I don't want to be like him. And then in the end, I just listened to all these old guys in the pub, these and I just sort of have a bit of him and have a bit of her, and I just built this sort of metaphor of an avatar of who I could possibly be, and then just went there. That was it.
I think this is the interesting thing about books, right? Is you're building a connection with someone through time. So there's the quote, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But that actually applies to podcasts, books, videos that you watch. So if you're sat in a position where you are not currently surrounded by opportunity, entrepreneurs and big thinkers, you can go and build that for nearly free or for free.
Or for very little money.
For very little money, and influence what you are hearing and thinking about every single day.
I think what you said there is so crucial, is influence what you're thinking and have your thinking changed. I like my thinking to be challenged. Because I thought, that was the only reason we did that was because of that. You go, no. Because this other neuro pathway does it this way. That's why people choose that. And you think, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the whole idea, Lee, of having you here is to educate me and then educate all of you if you're listening and watching. But and you, Oliver. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I forgot you were there. And that's it. That's the juice, isn't it? That's the thing that turns us on, is to have more education. I try and do it in a more fun way. I watch lots of podcasts. They're so boring. Just people tune out, And I think the energy to the learning is crucial as well. You need to learn in a way. We can't go to school. That's rubbish. We need to be in environments to learn in. That's why we do the masterclass thing here at Barrow Park. We do it in a way that they all have their own chair, their own table with their own books and stuff on it, so they feel like they're. I think the whole. I'm anti-classroom. I don't like the classroom. I like interfacing with groups of people, or getting in on Zoom calls with great people that have got something to add value and to build new opportunities. That sounds like a bloody statement rant, but that's where we are. Listen, Lee, we're doing what you're reading, but you have your own book. So we should do the shameless plug, shouldn't we?
The shameless plug, yes.
So this is a story about a girl that's lost her dog. Come on, give it to us.
It is a book about building software in a way that's sane. So building software that sells itself. The crazy thing to me, I was mentoring a lot of founders one-to-one, and they were all doing the same thing. They were investing their mortgages and life savings into building apps, and I'd ask them the same question: how many people have you spoken to about this problem? Well, no one. I'm Bill Gates. I'm an incredible entrepreneur with a disruptive capacity. And it's like, okay, the biggest reason software companies go out of business is because they built a product no one wants or needs, and it's very easy to avoid this fate. Just go and speak to people about their problems, and then we'll design the product.
It's like an internal itch they're itching, and not something that's real out there.
They don't want that to be.
What's the title of the book?
So it's just called Minimal Viable Launch: A Guide to Selling, Building Software That Sells Itself.
Not a short title. Just do it one more time.
Minimal Viable Launch: A Guide to Creating Software That Sells Itself.
Now, can we put that up when that comes in? That would be great. Mm-hmm. And how long ago did you write it?
So I wrote that 2 years ago at this point. It was a very strange experience. It was kind of, I was thinking about writing a book. I did a mentoring session with someone, and she said, I met this woman at a conference. You should speak to her, because what you've just said to me should go in a book. I was like, oh yeah, great. Yeah. I'm walking out that meeting, and the tech hub manager, who I knew pretty well, is by the door, and she goes, oh Lee, by the way, I've just been to a conference, and I've got this book, and I've read it, and I think you should have written this book. I was like, great, thank you very much. Get this call with the book publisher, hold this book up and say, I need to write this book. She goes, that's good, because we published that book. And I was like,
great.
damn, no matter what her price tag is now, I feel like I'm going to buy it because something is driving me in this
the universe has dragged you along.
Yeah. And, it was an interesting process to create a book. There's someone, I can't remember her name. She is from Essex. She's called the Book Midwife. She talks about birthing a book. You don't create a book.
But it is like hatching a child out, and then once it's free, it's free.
It has this weird, wild life of its own. I get pictures of the book sent to me. Someone was on a podcast the other week, and they had to do book recommendations. They recommended mine and KPI by Daniel Priest. I was like, that's a win.
I'll have that. I'll have that little sit across. Yeah, that's great.
I had an incredible experience where a partnership was formed with a company because my mum was reading the book on a beach in Montenegro. As a random, this guy comes up to her on the beach. She's reading it, and he goes, "Do you know the author?" She's like, "Yeah, no,
just
a little bit,
yeah, a little bit."
Yeah. And I get a selfie from this CTO at the startup. In fact, actually, it's even weirder. It's the CTO of the company whose book that I held up in that meeting.
Really? Wow.
So I get a selfie of my mum, my dad, and him in Montenegro, and I was like, how, what? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Stuff,
yeah, and we ended up forming a business because it kind of was the re-engagement to a conversation that we had. So you write a book, and it is a hard process. Like, you are going to be writing for 10 months consistently, and it isn't fun. It's not like you're sitting
stripping
in cafes.
It down.
It is a slog. It's easy to write the first bit. It's the refinement that's hard.
Because they're brutal, aren't they? To get it down for digestion.
They are brutal, but that is the thing that will create a really good book. It is a book is like forged like steel. Like you got to hammer it a couple.
And
of
you're it's giving you authenticity as well for when you're speaking.
I'm fascinated with this.
Yeah.
So when you tell people that you are an author, they treat you slightly differently. But what makes me laugh is they've probably never read your book. They've probably never seen your book. And I always think, I could have just launched a colouring book on Amazon and told you that I'm an author, and I would get the same halo effect.
Yeah.
It opens doors like you wouldn't believe. And I think the reason that is because people know that is a commitment to a subject. You've done a PhD thesis in a subject. Yeah. And it shows that you have the determination to see something through. I think that's why people resonate with it. Yeah,
well, I mean, that's the only thing that people have this degree for. Is that they didn't realise there was so much drinking that went in behind it. But you have this degree, and you can allegedly wave it around, but there's still no jobs. You're just a barista.
I studied illustration at university. There was no studying. We did drawing for 3 years and a lot of drinking.
That's very good. Do you make any money out of books? Out of the actual sale of the book. Let's do that, because I'm sure the book itself as a vehicle brings stuff to you. But
so it was about £20,000 to get that book made. Now you could do that way cheaper. I went with I'm a believer in coaching, right? So it's a coaching package, one-to-one mentoring, and all the marketing around it. So the ROI is probably negative 18,000, 17,000. And we've done good sales. It's a bestseller, and it's nice. I still get a monthly check from Amazon where it's like, here's 48 quid. It's like, that's
but
great.
It's not really done for that, is it?
No, it's a cooling. It's a door opening mechanism. Yeah. And the ROI. So we have a process in the business where any conversation that I have as a sales call, I get their address. My handwriting is absolutely terrible, so this doesn't come from me. But I voice note my VA. This is what I want to say. Yeah. She writes a handwritten personal note, puts that in the post, bang. Those are kind of little ticking time bombs. I don't know when they'll go off, because sometimes that conversation goes quiet. We had one the other day. She came back maybe a year after speaking with me, and she went, I just watched a video about some AI and some software, and I remembered you sent me this book, and I got it out, read it, and I've got to work for you. We've just signed a 40 grand deal with her.
Wow. That's very powerful.
It sticks around. They don't throw them away.
No, I mean, it's a good lumpy mail calling card, isn't it? I mean, it's very good, isn't it?
I say to every entrepreneur that I work with that doesn't have a book, write one. Because it does two things for you, right? People write books with AI. So as the AI guy, I'm going to be contrarian here. People write books with AI. I think that robs you of the gold. Yeah. Because you outsource the real gem of writing a book, which is it clarifies your thinking and the way you can articulate what you do. my level of being able to explain why I do things in the way that I do skyrocketed through writing that book. It created more IP and products out of it. But also, you will build a PR machine for yourself that is very hard to predict the ROI on this, and it's not that hard to market a book.
No, but you're grooming yourself in the process of doing the book as well, because you're bringing everything that you think you know about into one space and refresh as well. And you can build keynote speeches from that book. You can do everything from that book. It's just a version of that, either watered down or extended. I mean, that's what it is. I do a keynote speech. We will do the book from that. We just excuse-itis. It needs to be done, because I agree with everything you've said on there. It is the best concentration of, and you're sweating the asset that lives without you there next to it, and it's doing the job for you.
It will forever, it will forever be there. And it is the tail end of that book. It's not a short-lived thing. It's actually a slow burn.
And you'll be doing an upgrade of that with the way technology is moving on. That's definitely going to be happening.
Yeah, well, there's the second book's in the works. You kind of get the bug for it. It's I read Daniel Priestley's KPI book, and I was like, okay, cool, got to
do you enjoy, Lee, being the educator here for people? Do you enjoy that, where you see their little eyes and really,
Yes, and it's funny because I spent so long in my childhood trying to get out of school, thrown out of school, kicked out, bunking
club.
off school, right?
Yeah.
But education, I fell in love with education in university. I found a way to learn that I absolutely love, and then teaching that back to people. I used to do these live lunch and learn sessions, just like 20 of us in a Zoom room, and just teach them what I've read and learned that week. That skyrocketed the business.
Learning is all about finding the environment and how to do it, and how to create the openness to have sticky learning. I always talk about people, there's lots of teaching going in school. Is there any learning going on? Probably not.
No. It's memorization.
And can you do it all quickly in an hour? And these are the 20 questions.
Yep.
And remember what we taught you over the last 3 months. I mean, it's just a load of shit. I can't believe it. Don't get me going. Lee, listen, you're obviously very super busy, and I do appreciate you coming here. And we've got dinner tonight, haven't we? You coming to the dinner?
It's here, right?
It's here, absolutely. Not in this room, but in the big room.
Amazing.
But it's where, if people want to be all educated and AI, where do they go? Where do we find you?
So on YouTube as Lee Russel, and we do a monthly online masterclass. So if you go to minimalviablelaunch.io, you'll find the masterclass link, and we teach people how to become the next disruptor of their industry with AI. It's about 90 minutes. We get deep into their businesses, real examples. Here's how you're going to transform your business with AI.
Okay, well, that's great. And we'll be able to put them links up as well, won't we, Ollie? Thank you for your time. I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, James.
We went on some tangents, but I think it was all right.
That usually happens. Okay. We had a very tangential conversation in the pre-interview, didn't we?
We did.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, James.
If you've enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, leave a comment. There's someone you know that could gain something from what we do here. Pass the pod. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you on the next one.